Hello everyone, I'm Sage. Welcome back to my tabletop game review, or my tabletop gaming series, where I talk about various tabletop games, mechanics, things like that. Sorry about the weird change in venue. My wife has commandeered the dining room at the moment, so I'm in a different room, which is fine because it's the room that's got my bookshelf. So I've decided to talk about um, a very strange tabletop RPG. That is WWF's, WWE Know Your Role. For those of you who weren't there in the, uh, from about 2001 to about 2008, Wizards of the Coast released their first OGL game, D20 system, and like I know everybody now talks about the OGL and all this stuff and like third party content, but like a lot of you have started on Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, and you have no idea the amount of tabletop shovelware that just this tabletop shovelware that came about from the original third edition Dungeons and Dragons OGL. Like, you couldn't get your book on shelves unless it was OGL, and everyone released an OGL game, a game using this open gaming license D20 system. There's a Rokugan one, which wasn't too bad. Had some issues. There was a 7th C one called Swashbuckling Adventures. I'm looking at it right now. Oh my gosh. Terrible. That one's probably top 10 of the worst tabletop games I've ever played. Maybe. It's pretty bad. But this game here, this was madness. And WWE's Know Your Role. And he really is a snapshot of the times. Yeah, about the book, sorry. I'll explain it here in a minute. But first of all, I want to make a comment. Know Your Role. Know Your ROLL. Roll. Easy pun right there. I'm pretty sure Spoonie had made that comment too, but like right there. So I bought this book. When I bought it, was used. I bought this book secondhand, probably half off. So I bought it at a used game. So 40. I can't believe I paid $20 for this piece of shit. When I bought it, it wasn't in, mint condition. It's the quality of this book. I think it's held together with bubble gum and wishes, because the quality of the actual book itself. So I'll review the book. This book is probably one of the cheapest books I've ever purchased in my entire life. Just absolute trash. As for the game, so like during the OGL, like everything was out. So this is my comic images, and they even have advertisement for in the back CCG, WF's Radio. First of all, probably one of the top 10 best card games I've ever played. I love Know Your Role. Just system wise, probably one of my favorites. I could actually do some card game reviews if there's any interest in it, especially that early 2000s, because the golden age of RPGs, but it was the golden age of card games. If there was a card game you wanted, you could find one. Like, for real, it was insane how many of these things had card games. I mean, the three big survived: Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, but like Yu Hakusho, WWE had one, Wisecross, Babylon 5 had one that was not good but interesting. There was an Anime Mayhem one. There was Dragon Ball Z one, was actually really, really good. But yeah, so everything got a D20 system, and it is D20 system. Let's see if we can find. It is very much a D20 game, and which is honestly the first major problem. See, they talk about charisma, wisdom, what it does. Nothing. Wisdom does nothing. So you don't have races, like there's no dwarves, no elves. What you do have is your weight class, which gives you ability modifier changes. Which is one of the first big issues here. Being a super or ultra heavyweight because of the lift check system, which is just a terrible, terrible idea. But we'll get into that. And then there are 6 classes in the game. No prestige classes, just 6 classes. Power, power wrestler, agile wrestler, technical wrestler, savvy wrestler, rough wrestler, manager. No class for wisdom, because this is one of the few games I've seen where wisdom is useless. Other than your wisdom score is used to prevent yourself from tapping out to submission holds. The game is fundamentally broken at its core, though. Some of my favorite things in here is you go through the feats, because of course 3.5 there's feats. I'll find you this amazing feat here, and it is, you see it, martial art weapon proficiency. When you use your martial arts weapon proficiency, you do not take a non-proficiency bonus when using a martial art weapon like a kendo stick and nunchucks. They don't exist in the game. There are no rules, no mention, nowhere else in the game are martial art weapons like kendo sticks ever mentioned. A kendo stick shot is simply put just a rough maneuver. It's just a foreign object attack. Like, there's nowhere in the game where that's even mentioned, and it shows you this book was rushed to print. I don't think they finished writing the book before they started printing copies of it. And that's some people who've claimed to have talked to some of the playtesters. So this is knowledge. This is, a friend of a friend of a friend. But they said that the playtesters in the book, basically, while they were playtesting, they weren't even, their notes were being thrown away because they had already started the editing production process of this book when they were playtesting it. So it feels that way. So yeah, basically how the game works is, and you get really into the original, because of course 3rd edition, every class has a base attack bonus. The base attack bonus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the technical superstar. They have a fighter's base attack bonus. And if we go to the savvy wrestler, you'll see they have a they have a cleric's base attack bonus. So they get 2/3 of a base attack of a boost to their base attack every level. Fighter gets 1, wizard gets half, which is the rough and manager. They get half. So now how it works is, it's not I attack you versus your AC. I pick an attack. So whoever wins initiative chooses second. So you roll your initiative. Generally goes by who has more heat, which is kind of this game's fate point. If you do 10 damage to an opponent, you gain a heat. And you can burn heat to do certain feats. You can do it to get rerolls. You can do it to trigger finishers. All finishers is a normal maneuver that does double damage. It uses, because I'll get into how maneuvers work in a minute. But, so as you saw, they have different base attack bonuses. Power, technical have a fighter's base attack bonus. Aerial and savvy have a cleric's base attack bonus. And rough and managers have a wizard's base attack bonus. So I get my d20. So let's say I want to do a basic attack. It's just 0 attack. So I'm going to do this basic attack. And when I do it, I roll d20 plus stat modifier plus base attack bonus. So I've chosen my attack. Now my opponent who won initiative chooses their attack. So they see what I've done. And they choose a maneuver. And then what happens is we say, okay, I'm going to try this maneuver, you try this maneuver. So we try our maneuvers, roll d20, add our base attack bonus, add our stat modifier, add our, because there's 6 types of attacks in the game. And each of them are attributed to one of the stat modifiers. So roll d20, roll stat modifier, base attack bonus, maneuver bonus, and whoever gets the highest number wins that attack, and they get to do the damage to their opponent. So you can already see the problem. So level 5, a power wrestler is going to have plus 5 BAB. A aerial wrestler is going to have, I think, a plus 3, 5. Oops. Yeah, plus 3 at 5. So, at all things equal, that power wrestler already has 2 points over their opponent's base attack bonus. So, how maneuvers work is you kind of build them on the fly, so you can kind of change their damage, change their. Yeah, they have a big list of sample maneuvers. Like, there's the hair swing, gut buster, German suplex and bridge, and there's a big list of modifiers. So you go, okay, I'm gonna do a technical maneuver. I'm gonna say a um, vertical suplex, which isn't here, but I look here, and they have this chart here that changes your um, attack bonus. So okay, vertical suplex. So a base attack does a d6 damage, no modifier. But you're like, okay, I think this vertical suplex might be a little tougher, so I'll do an extra d6 damage. Well, that reduces my attack roll by 2, so my accuracy goes down by 2. And you're like, okay, I got to do a lift check to do a vertical suplex. You have to pick your opponent up. So it requires lift check, adds 1. So now I'm at a -1. And I could say something like, I don't know, that's good. So now my vertical suplex, d6 damage, plus ability modifier, which is my intelligence modifier, -1 to my roll. So my friend, we play the game with him. And this is so weird because I've seen people talk about know your role, and I've never seen one bring it up. So it must just have been a weird trick with our group. It must have been a weird hiccup with the way our group worked. So he would, okay, we have to figure out how to get the highest base attack bonus because it doesn't matter what maneuver is if you don't hit. So if I've got, let's say all things equal, even base attack bonus equal, I'm doing my vertical suplex. So I'm at a -1. So he goes like, okay, I'm going to do a small package because I'm pretty sure a small package is +4 because that's what we were spamming when we actually played the game was small package +4. So we were spamming every match is just you guys spamming small packages at each other. It was at a +4. So I'm at a -1. He's at a +4. That's a 5-point difference between our attack rolls just in that bit. Now imagine in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition if you went to do an insight check. So, okay, or you do a bluff check, but you knew that the guy's insight was 5 higher than your bluff. Would that not kind of discourage you from doing it? Because that's not an insignificant, that's 25% of your d20 die right there. Now, that's a huge discrepancy in power level, which is an inherent issue with 3rd edition anyway, because the numbers got way worse, but this is your core mechanic. This is your attack roll. So roll, and it would just be everyone just trying to get us to get that +4. That +4 meant, or sometimes, like if I was playing a suboptimal character, like maybe an aerial hero, if even at the +4, I'm still -3, -4, I would just end up doing a super move and praying for that 20, so 20 automatically hits your attack roll. If both players play 20, I think it's whoever has the most heat gets the attack win, because whoever has the most heat just wins everything in the game. So yeah, the whole match was just people rolling small packages at each other, and it made the game really, really dull. But that's not the only issue that this book had. Like, there are so many problems in this book. Oh yeah, if you had 5 or is it every 5? Because I think I had an argument with one of my friends about this. Because if you had knowledge of certain attack bonuses, no, every 5 ranks of a skill. So when you have skills, knowledge. So if you have knowledge technical, every 5 ranks, not 5 points, 5 ranks gives you a +1. So of course, whatever maneuver style you specialized in, you maximize those. You got the +1, because it's all about getting your highest accuracy you can. Because like I said, it doesn't matter how good your hit is. If you can't hit it because your opponent's spamming small packages at you, then it doesn't really matter. And talk Lift DC. Lift DC is one of the most poorly thought out mathematical mechanics I've seen. So how your lift DC works is you would lift DC of 10. And then for every 25 pounds, I believe it is. Shoot, sorry. I probably should have had stickies in here, but weight class. Lift DC. 10 plus 1 for every 25 pounds over 200, or minus 1 for every 25 pounds under 200. So if you were at 300 pounds, you would have a lift DC of 14. So how this worked was whatever stat you were doing. So if you were doing a technical maneuver, it would be your intelligence. If you were doing an aerial maneuver, it would be your dexterity. If your value 15, 16 was above their lift DC, you lifted them without a problem. It didn't matter. However, ultra heavyweight's 500. So if your lift DC was higher than that, so let's say you had a 16 intelligence, and the opponent had a lift DC 17, you roll straight D20 plus your intelligence modifier 3 against that 17. You have to, on a D20, roll a 14 or better to lift that person. So if you're an ultra heavyweight, you're not taking damage. Most maneuvers in here require lift DCs. Some just have knockdown checks where they'll still do damage if they hit. You just roll against that to see if they fall prone. But that's a -1 to your either -1 or -2 to them. That's a negative to your attack roll already, and there. And yes, if your lift DC is high enough, if you are lifted or knocked prone, you take like an additional 1 or 2 points of damage. But your health in this game is your constitution stat. So if you have a constitution of 17, 17 times your level. Meaning level 5, 6 characters, I mean, they're hundreds of hit points. You don't have to bring your hit points to 0 in this game. If your hit points reach 0, you start having to roll every turn to see if you are stunned. In the game, if you're stunned, and there's other ways to stun, like a chair shot, certain maneuvers will stun. If you're stunned, all you can do on your turn is roll D20 -5, and that's your turn roll. So basically, you just lose your turn. And so yeah, it is entirely possible to stun lock someone in the game, but it's hard because there's like, if they hit them with the maneuver that stuns them, then they have to fail a stun saving throw, which varies depending on like if it's a hit point one, if it's a damage one, it's like damage dealt or some 10 plus damage dealt, something like that. If you hit somebody with, sorry, it's shaking. There's a cat running across my makeshift table. You can hear her running around back there. Anyway, so you hit, but like, oh yeah, these lift DC. So if I'm trying to suplex you and you've got a DC 18 lift DC, I'm probably just going to fail that roll, because if I can't lift you, technically I still win it. Yeah, you can see the cat back there. You can technically still win initiative, but my attack does nothing. I just don't do anything to you. So basically it's a skip turn. The math is bad because if your stat isn't high enough to lift them, your bonus isn't high enough to really make lifting a viable option. That's just a terribly designed mechanic. I'm not sure how I'd fix it other than getting rid of it. This is the dumb, but this is WWF and not an indie show, so like the big man is a thing, like where it's not in a lot of other places. I tried to design a wrestling tabletop game, and I just made having a lift DC a feat you had to take in order to get a lift DC, and even then, it wasn't super punishing. Yeah. So that's the one of the worst ideas I've ever seen. The game was just fundamentally unbalanced. So I had a friend who built a power technical wrestler. He was half power, half technical. And he specialized in rough maneuvers. Sorry, I thought I saw something. He specializes in rough maneuvers because Constitution is the most important stat in this game. It resists your knockout, it determines your hit points, the power of your rough maneuvers. You don't have to be rough class to be specialized in rough maneuvers. There's a lot of like power abilities that don't actually involve maneuvers, like increase your lift check, just straight increase damage. And technical maneuvers have a lot of ones that are things like, oh, increase your ability to pin, which is another stupid mechanic in here. Things like that. So, he had this character, and it was so optimally built. And there's a lot of it, I think, was him just trying to prove he could break the game. But, like, wrestlers 6, 7 levels higher than this one couldn't beat him. Didn't even use the ultra heavyweight mechanics. He just, you couldn't hit him because his base attack bonus was so much higher than everyone else's. And when you did hit him, okay, yeah, fine, but I don't remember. One of the things about having a lot of hit points, this keep you from stun, but every 20 hit points you lose, you just lose a straight -1 all across the board to all your stats. Which is kind of the thing. You don't have to reach 0 hit points to win a match, but generally what you do is you chip away at their hit points until their negatives are low enough that you can actually go for a pin. Pinfalls in this game are terrible. So you go for a pin. You apply a pinfall maneuver. And how it works is you roll a strength check. So I built a Rey Mysterio type character. It was supposed to be like this kind of technical high fly. So he had an 8 strength. He had a -1 strength. I remember matches with him were nightmares because he would win. He would beat his opponents, just beat them down because he wasn't terribly optimized. He would, but his strength was low. So how pinfall works is, for those of you who don't know, 3rd edition D&D, yeah, ability checks and saving throws. Your saving throws got massive. So you would roll, for your pin attempt, straight d20 plus strength modifier. So he had a -1. So I rolled a d20 -1. So averaging at about a 9 strength check. So now you would roll 3 saving throws. For those you don't know, in 3rd edition, there were only 3 saving throws. Constitution, Fortitude, Wisdom, Will, and Dexterity, or Reflex. So you'd roll each of those. Constitution, which in whatever order you wanted. The idea was those were kind of your, like, kicking out, wiggling out, just umping your way out of a pinfall. So, I'm rolling a d20 -1. Now you're rolling your, let's say, Wisdom, your Will saving throw, your Wisdom saving throw. So you roll d20 plus your Wisdom modifier, correct? No. Because as you see here with the technical superstar, you get a bonus, +2, +3, +4, +5, +6. Now, mind you, my pinfall attempt doesn't go up at levels. So at level 5, I'm rolling d20 -1. You're rolling d20 plus like 7 or 8. And you're doing that 3 times. Because you get your Will, your Reflex, and your Fortitude. Now, as you saw with the technical superstar, his Fortitude and Will go up fairly slowly, but you get the point. Like, it's going up. My ability to pin you isn't going up because it's just a straight strength roll. Meaning pin attempts. So I had to, because like I said, every 20 hit points I do to you, your thing goes down. So like they're at -30 hit points every turn. They're failing their stun saving throws, but it doesn't matter if they're stunned or not if you're pinning them. Now, if you hit them with your finisher, they get 1 saving throw, no matter what it is. Submission finishers work differently. They use submission rules. But if I hit you, Shawn Michaels hits you with Sweet Chin Music and then goes for the pin, you get 1 roll because it's your finisher. It's supposed to be your finisher. I'm going to go for a move like a small package or a frog splash that ends in a pin. They get 2 instead of 1. You can attempt to pull the tights, which just costs you 1 hit point, and then they lose 1. They always get at least 1. No matter what you do, they get at least 1 saving throw. So you get their highest saving throw. So I would just hit these guys with my finisher over and over and over again. D6, D20 -1. And, I'm taking damage too. So even if my gap is there, like, I've got to break that. So, D20 -1. So I'm at a -1. They're at like a +7. So that's an 8-point gap. I've got to do 160 points of damage to close that gap. And like you said, I'm doing D6 plus ability modifier damage. So I'm doing on average like 7, 8 points of damage. And I've got to get them down 180 to bridge that gap. Now, obviously, if I stun him, I can hit him with some harder moves because I'm pretty well guaranteed to hit if I do such a thing. But like, you see where the problem is. Like, there should have been a way to increase, and there's a technical tree that lets you increase a technical talent tree. They're like kind of like class specific feats, but there should have been a way to increase that, but there wasn't because this game wasn't finished being made. And I love how in the back there's this little bestiary. There's about 12 or so superstars in here, and that includes like a referee. But I love the Undertaker because my brother pointed this out when they have the Undertaker in here. Because of course the Undertaker's in here. He's the Undertaker. He's a living legend. His stats: 21 strength, 12 dexterity, 20 constitution, 13 intelligence, 15 wisdom, 14 charisma. With his feats and his level 18, my brother pointed out, even if you rolled 2 18s for strength and constitution, and you gained a ability 1, not 2 like in 5th edition, 1 every 4 levels. So 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 16, 4 ability modifier boosts. So if he rolled 2 18s, because I believe he's just a heavyweight. He's not a super heavyweight. He doesn't get a stat boost. His strength could only be 20, or if his strength is 21, his constitution would have to be 19, even if he rolled 2 18s. The character literally cannot have the stats he had. They just gave him stats. They didn't care. They didn't actually make these characters using their own rules. Which, once again, just goes to show you how half-finished this product was. I don't know if there's anything else to play. Oh, one of the interesting rules, and it's one I kind of like because it actually did something with charisma. So in the show, there's like, okay, you get segments, and you earn segments, and you get experience, which I don't really like, but you can only show up on a show a number of times equal to your charisma bonus at a minimum of 1. You get at least 1 appearance per show no matter what. And one of the manager abilities lets him take characters. So, like, you would have the thing where Bobby the Brain Heenan could bring in, like, the Legion of... Well, not the Legion of Doom, because he didn't really manage Legion of Doom. I don't think. Anyway, so $1 Million Man could bring in Andre the Giant. So even though the Andre the Giant may not have a charisma boost, he can still have a match, his 1 appearance, but then Bobby the Brain Heenan can use his appearance to bring another superstar in. But it made charisma important because it meant that you could do promos and vignettes to get your experience points, get you some bonuses, get you heat. Like I said, heat is almost like a fate points or beanie points or inspiration in D&D. Did a couple other things. Like I said, the biggest thing it did was let you activate your finisher. You had to have a heat to get your finisher off, which means spamming small packages, which just do ability modifier damage. So +4, you're not really getting a heat if you're just spamming small packages. So you gotta throw at least 1 bomb in there, or do a promo. If you get your finisher, you're almost guaranteed to get heat back. Because like I said, 10 damage gets you heat. And you're doing, normal finishers about 2d6 damage. You're rolling 4d6. So that's 10 damage, 14 damage right there, plus ability modifier damage. So you're looking at probably about 17, 18 points of damage on average with your finisher. Boom, heat back. Try your finisher again. But yeah, and there are a couple match types in here, like ladder match where you climb ladders, you make opposed climb checks. So, which the only reason to have climb checks in the game, so nobody has them. So you're just doing straight dexterity checks to climb this ladder. One of the things I actually like about this book is it's almost a snapshot of WWE in the year like 2005 when it was made. 2005, because they mention guys like Luther Reigns. Like, who remembers that guy? Basham Brothers. Good old John Cena is listed as a perfect example of a savvy superstar. Which is funny because like everybody now kind of sees him as a brawler or a technical superstar. Sylvain Grenier and Rob Conway are technical superstars. That's Kenzo Suzuki. Kenzo Suzuki. Now, mind you, the um, character sheets aren't in this book. You only get about 12. Like I said, and one of them's Earl Hebner. I'm pretty sure one of them's like Lillian Garcia or some shit. Earl Hebner's in here. Ooh. Um, Eric Bischoff, of course. Jonathan Coachman. Gotta have Jonathan Coachman stats. I mean, heaven forbid we get people to actually wrestle. Paulie Heyman. Good old Teddy Long's in here. Yeah, it's just a mess. Oh, and if you're a manager, you don't get a finisher. You have to have at least one character level. Like Tori, wow, Tori Wilson's only level 4, and this is after she was a 2-time Playboy centerfold. That's crazy to me. Yeah, but like almost nothing in this book actually works. I mean, like I said, you're held accountable to those sacred 6 stats because it's real important to know how smart Sylvian Grenier is. Ooh, Sylvian Grenier, he's got like a 16 intelligence. Kenzo Suzuki, ooh, he's like a 17. Why? What? Why? Like, for real? Um, yeah. Ooh, JBL Superstar. Wow, this is it. It's just an insane book. Yeah, I think at its core, because I've thought about this. I've tried a couple. Know Your Role. There's another WWF one. It's a lot older. I've kind of peeked at it. I haven't really messed with it. Like I said, there's one, a Fiasco playbook that is Blood on the Mat, and that one's just very kayfabe. It's like stuff that you would see more on like Dark Side of the Ring, Vice's Dark Side of the Ring, than you would see on SmackDown. And then my brother swears by Wide World of Wrestling, which is a PPTA game, and the problem is it's once again not really a wrestling game. It feels more like fantasy booking, like general manager mode, like. And I thought, like, man, I don't think it's really possible to do a real wrestling, not like one I want, where like we're kayfabe wrestlers, like I am the Undertaker. I am this undead monster, and we have actual fights, not predetermined who wins, who loses, how good. But like the idea of the fight, kind of like how Lord of the Rings doesn't. Lord of the Rings is scripted. All the fights in Lord of the Rings are scripted. But how D&D kind of mimics Lord of the Rings, it assumes that those fights are actual fights and not scripted set pieces. I kind of want something like that in wrestling, but I'm like, I don't think it'll work because you got, say, 7 people at a table. DM, 6 players. And so, best case, 2 of those guys are in a match with each other, which PvP is kind of always hard to do anyway. But then you're like, what are the other 4 players at the table doing? They're checking their phone, they're reading a different book, they're off on the corner, chatting. So their investment in the game is gone for the time it takes for you to do your match, which in Know Your Role would take, like, I remember my luchador, not really luchador, kind of high flyer, Johnny Paradise, was wrestling, hey, cat! Sorry. He was wrestling Nunzio, and that match took 45 minutes to an hour, and like, come here, Jared. And so, like, what are the other 7, 8 players I had at the table doing for that, that 45 minutes? Nothing. They're off doing other stuff. They start a Smash Brothers game or Mario Party, and like they're gone. They don't care anymore. You bring them back in if the match is over, like they're already checked out of this game. You invite them over to play D&D, and you're just tell them, hey, go sit in the corner and fuck off for an hour while me and one other player have some time to play. It wasn't very good, so I just don't think it can be done. If any of you guys out there have any ideas on how it could be done, I'd like to hear it, but this is baby cat Jelly. Say hi, Jelly. Hello. I just don't think it could be done. All right, come on. I'll share behold everybody. So I don't know, but yeah, there it is. It's Know Your Role. So one of, like I said, I think I got this half off at a secondhand store. I bought a lot of stuff at this pawn shop we had at the area, like a lot of stuff, and I said probably. You know, I might have paid full price for this shit because he was a fucking cheapskate. He was kind of a scumbag. You get real good deals, but he'd also rip you off real bad if you went. But anyway, I can't imagine I paid full price for this. I might have because I was a huge wrestling mark. But yeah, I'm just gonna pretend I paid $20 for this book. Probably one of the worst. Probably of all the games I've actually sat down and played, it's probably the worst. Like it's so unpoorly thought out, and I thought it would be so good because the Raw Deal card game was one of the best. And I might just have to do a full review of the Raw Deal card game because it has some just absolutely fantastic mechanics I actually loved. But yeah, so there it is. Know your role. If you know any games that you'd want me to do a full-on review, I'll see if I have them. I don't. I have a lot of weird ones, but I'll see if I have them, or find a PDF of them or something to buy. I mean, by all means, you're more than welcome to. One of these days, I'll get up, share you guys my PayPal, my Cash App. You guys can send me donations so I can buy more books to waste my time and make my wife hate me for taking up more room in our little library area. But anyway, I will see you guys next time. Have fun and don't buy shovelware. Bye.